A warm good morning to all. Thank you so much for joining this session. This is a beginner session that will guide you step by step through the process of creating a reusable component in OutSystem. It includes following recommended best practices, building a demo Forge application, in our case a currency formatter, and demonstrating its upload to Forge. Everything we go through today will be taken from OutSystems official documentation, and we will be sharing all document references in our post event detail. So let's dive into it. As we all know, components are one of the most important aspects of low-code platform as they enable code reusability. Developers can build high-quality app components and share them with others, boosting application development time and code fragmentation. So to build and share your component when it comes to OutSystem, we have the infamous Forge. Any component you build will be validated by the OutSystems curation team and make sure your component complies with all of the tested component requirement. So that begs the question, what is a component? The basic explanation for a component is that it's a simple piece of code that can be reused and helps us in speeding up application creation and delivery. It can be either an application or a module that provides additional features. It should be easy to use and understand, and it should focus on a common use case. Common examples include Ultimate PDF or multi-file upload. These are components which speed up our application creation, having additional features encapsulated. If you are using a piece of code in multiple places in your application or on multiple applications in your environment, you should consider making it a component. A component is usually a set of blocks and actions that you distribute as a module or as an application. For example, if you want to modularize your own code, your component would most likely to be a new block. But if you are planning to release it to a factory or publicly, your component should be a module for being used inside an application. There are three scenarios where a component comes in handy. Number one, modularizing your code to reuse the same code within your application. Number two, use it as an infrastructure piece for your factory so that it can be reused in more than one application. And number three, our scenario, publish it to Forge, where it can serve multiple application and developers. A component is successful when you are clear in deciding its purpose and requirement, clear in designing an API and logic that support the main scenario, giving it the right names and icons, following a set of best practices that enhance the experience of reuse and maintenance, making sure you cover non-functional requirements such as performance, security, and scalability. When it comes to OutSystems Forge, you can share any kind of components. The most common component category which you can share in Forge are integrations, device capabilities, user interface, functional libraries and utilities, and development tools. Before building a component, we have to plan it properly. And planning includes strategically planning the component, having a proper component structure, having user interface consideration, designing it purposefully, and having an optimal structure. So, before starting the component creation process, strategically plan its objective and functionality. Define options, default behavior, and prioritize key use cases. Component typically consist of blocks and actions distributed as modules or applications. For personal use, consider creating a new block. For broader sharing, especially within your factory or publicly, design your component as a module integrated into an application. If your component involves UI elements, initiate the development by creating a module with a template. This structured approach ensures an optimal setup for incorporating UI elements seamlessly. Tailor your component's design to its intended purpose. Clearly define its role, features, and how it addresses specific use cases. This ensures a focused and effective development process. Choose the appropriate structure for your component based on its use, whether it's a standalone block for personal use or a module for broader distribution. Selecting the optimal structure enhances the component's functionality and usability. Once you have defined your component's purpose, proceed to build the relevant UI elements, actions, and logic. Ensure that your component align with the architectural canvas methodology. It's a tool used in OutSystem for designing service-oriented architectures. The architectural canvas specifies the design process, emphasizing the proper abstraction of reusable services and the isolation of distinct functional module. Within the architectural canvas, modules are categorized based on non-functional requirement, that is the foundation module, core module for business services, and end user module for UI and processes, so called the three-layer architecture. For a more in-depth exploration of architectural canvas and its best practices, we can delve into it in another session. OutSystem documentation on architectural canvas will be provided in our post-event detail. When it comes to end-user module, OutSystem offers traditional web and reactive web options. OutSystem recommend using reactive web over traditional web because of the high performance, scalability, and enhanced development experience across web and mobile. When creating a setup with input fields, let's explore OutSystem's recommendation for inputs. While designing a component, focus on the main use cases and ensure you provide adequate default values for inputs. Design the component's API to offer mechanism for developers to extend the functionality considering varied context and developer skill set. Always start small. Begin with a simple small component that target common use cases, encouraging widespread community usage. Additional options can be introduced to an extensibility mechanism. When it comes to functionality focus, avoid merging multiple functionalities into one single action to prevent over-engineering. During implementation, consider the targeted developer experience and skill set. Always follow best practices. Adhere to OutSystems best practices to create high-quality components serving multiple apps and developers. Refer to OutSystem best practices for detailed guideline. When it comes to input configuration, avoid inputs without clear meaning. And for expanding component configuration options without adding multiple inputs, introduce one that receive all extended options as JSON. Clearly explain available JSON option in both input and component description. If dealing with numerous advanced scenarios, consider dedicating a page to explaining extensible options. If publishing on Forge, include this explanation on the page linked to the Try Now button. When dealing with components heavily reliant on UI, it's best to consider reusable CSS and JavaScript. In expression widget where both class and style attributes are present, OutSystem recommend leveraging the classes property for dynamic changes to the class attribute. For static but conditional elements, a CSS class is preferable. However, on using a style property, it can add unnecessary data to your DOM, complicating the customization. Use the inline style attribute only for dynamic styles, leaving comments to explain the requirement and mathematical reasoning. Use CSS selector for enhanced reusability. Relying solely on classes in your CSS selector restrict the component's reusability, allowing reference to only one instance. OutSystem suggests using CSS selector relative to the specific instance of the component. Explore DOM manipulations with JavaScript to understand its usage better. Customization best practices defines that when customizing your code, avoid using the important CSS tag as it complicates the developer's ability to modify UI and UX elements. Also replace buttons, links or trigger actions with placeholders and refrain from setting colors as these can be challenging to be overdone. In OutSystem mobile and reactive web apps, screens and blocks follow a lifecycle with lifecycle event handlers including onInitialize, onReady, onRender, onDestroy, accompanied by onAfterFetch and onParameters changed. Understanding this lifecycle aids in controlling component data and behavior, helping define default values and optimize performance. Utilizing lifecycle event handlers like onInitialize to set default variable values is a good thing. A comprehensive understanding of the lifecycle enables issue prediction and performance optimization. Ensure a great preview in Service Studio for a better development experience. Use if widget with a false condition for a friendly UI to hide placeholders occupying significant UI spaces. When using placeholders, provide sample content matching the functional behavior. Avoid using sample content for simple elements like text and images to prevent distraction. Design for the future by ensuring the components support multiple blocks on the same screen. Consider concurrency scenarios and allow fetching data outside the component for better performance. Reuse external resources such as libraries or JSON files to optimize the performance. Protect sensitive data on the client side and use the ciphered local storage plugin for enhanced security. enforce HTTP security on screen, pages, and integrations for secure data transmission. OutSystem prevents performance bottleneck with design time validation. Test your component under realistic condition, considering scenarios with numerous records or concurrent users to ensure optimal performance. When crafting a component, prioritize reusability and simplicity, ensuring easy comprehension for developers. Components should be designed with a focus on main use cases and clarity in names, description, and visual cues, such as icons. These elements facilitate developers in understanding and effectively using your component. Names should be clear, indicating the component's purpose without file extensions or excessive special characters. Descriptions play a crucial role in conveying the component's goal with comprehensive detail. Provide a complete overview including library URL, API version, and references to external resources. Utilize meaningful names and description, allowing community members to quickly grasp the component use cases. The descriptions serve as visual cues during development, enhancing the overall experience. Components with the icon appear in the left toolbox in Service Studio, reinforcing the importance of visual representation. Avoid one-liner descriptions, instead provide a detailed insight into why the component was built. Clearly explain the problem the component addresses and highlight notable features. When it comes to maintaining a component, make sure your code is neat and organized. It helps you and others understand it better later on. When you share on Forge, make it simple for different developers to use. Help out fellow developers who are using your component. Follow OutSystems and component best practices for better guidance. Use the latest OutSystem version to avoid problems and use the new features. When you upload a new version, tell others what changed. Comment on code changes so people get why you made them. If your code has tricky parts, add notes to explain. Even if it's not complicated, use simple labels to make it easy to understand. As the owner, be ready for questions on how your component works. Do your best to help. If you are busy, ask other community members to join in. Let's dive into the demo of an application we'll call the number to currency formatted version 1. This component is a tool for effortlessly formatting decimal numbers into the currency style of your choice. It's important to note that this will not convert your decimal, but it will certainly format and make it look good in your desired currency. Thanks to the default JavaScript action, let's explore more into it. We do not require the entire functionalities from a blank Go module, and considering other factors, we are using a library module for this application. We have two key actions in this library module. Number one, the number to currency is simple. If you are looking for a quick and straightforward solution, this action has got you covered. It simplifies the currency formatting process. Number two, the number to currency advanced. This action is your go-to for advanced currency formatting. It comes equipped with the features that cater to more intricate needs, ensuring your numbers look just the way you want them. Let's take a look at a live demonstration to witness the implementation in action. We will start by exploring our first action, number to currency simple. Here, you can give any desired decimal number of your choice. You can select a locale, choose the currency you wish to use for formatting, and decide on the type of display that suits your needs. Your specified decimal number will be transformed into the desired currency format. If we choose to have the number to currency advanced action, we have a wide variety of choices that can be used for advanced formatting. Whether it's specifying decimal precision, incorporating symbols, or adjusting for locale specific nuances. The advanced version empowers you with a multitude of choices, including grouping. As we dive back into the implementation detail, it's crucial to highlight that the input and output in our application are seamlessly mapped into symbol structures, where user inputs are processed through organized list, JSON resources, and dynamic list appends. We have also developed a demo application complete with a user-friendly interface serving as a testing ground and a valuable reference for implementation. Please don't consider this as an ideal application. The preview from personnel will also be provided in the Forge application detail. Let's discuss on sharing a new component to Forge. We will dive into the criteria to follow for a Forge upload along with uploading our own demo component. If you believe your component can be beneficial to other developers, we encourage you to share it within the Forge. The recommended format for sharing a project within the Forge is by utilizing something called an OutSystems application package, aka .oap file. OutSystems application package represent fully functional applications or asset. They come equipped with automatic installation and dependency management capabilities, ensuring the optimal experience for other members of the community. Sharing your component in this format allows for seamless integration and enhances collaboration within the community. Ensure that you have taken the following steps before uploading your asset. First and foremost, go to your Service Studio and ensure that there is no unused dependencies in your asset. Next, download the application package in .oap format. Please note that the maximum allowable file size for Forge upload is 256 MB. If the file size exceeds this limit, consider compressing any used image files or resources in order to upload to Forge. To proceed with uploading the asset to Forge, go to the official OutSystems Forge website. Click on the Upload Asset button in the Forge website to proceed and enter your asset detail. Upload your component in the Add File section and its demo in the Upload Demo section below that. We have to make sure that all dependencies that we are using in our asset and our demo is up to date. OutSystem will list down all the dependencies that we are using in our component. In the third wizard, we have to enter the asset detail, where by default the asset name, the icon, the short description are defined during development. We can change this detail if required. The preview URL is a URL where everyone can try out your asset. The URL brings the user to a demo application that they can use without having to install the asset. We recommend you host your preview on a public server such as a personal environment. Now we have to select the application type. It can be reactive, mobile, service or web. In our case, it's a reactive application. Next, we have to provide a short description for our application. Even though by default the short descriptions are defined during development, it's better to provide a concise one considering the implementation. There is also a provision to upload screenshots that best illustrate the asset features, main use cases and behavior. It's very much recommended to use this setting. Next, we have to enter a detailed description for our asset. It is necessary to follow the best practices and make sure the description fully describes the asset features and its available options. After that, we have to enter the version control and ownership detail. Initially, the version will be set as 1.0.0. Version control becomes crucial when we are re-uploading the component following a fix or an update. Keep in mind that version numbers are always unique. For suggest a version number, but you can change it. The version is visible on the main page and in the versions tab. Assign an incremental number for each new version so that people can easily identify the latest version. You can also manage the component owner detail here. Next, we have to select an appropriate category that defines our component. We have options such as asset and inventory management, integrations, device capabilities, user interface, functional libraries and utilities, development tools, and demos and samples. We can also add tags that best describe our asset. Including these values will help Forge organize components more efficiently, making it easier for developers to find it. Next, we have to add the asset documentation. The documentation should provide guidance on how to install and configure the asset, as well as general instructions on how to use it. Once it's done, click on Continue. If your asset has a complete first version and is ready for use in production, click on Upload. Or let's assume you are still building the asset but want to make it available to the community for testing. Then select option Upload as under development. In our case, let's upload it. Once your asset is uploaded, a confirmation message will be displayed. Just before we conclude this session, let's discuss the trusted badge. What is a trusted badge and what is its significance? In the context of OutSystems Forge, obtaining a trusted badge is a significant recognition that underscores the quality, reliability, and adherence to best practices of an asset. The trusted badge serves as a mark of distinction, indicating that an asset has been developed and shared by the OutSystems community, validated by the OutSystems curation team. To qualify for this badge, asset must meet dedicated criteria across various categories, ensuring excellence in Forge presence, installation, functionality, usability, implementation, architecture, security, performance, code maintainability, compliance, and ongoing support. Achieving a trusted badge not only enhances the asset's credibility, but also contributes to a curated environment within the Forge, making it easier for developers to identify and integrate high-quality components into their project. More details on trusted badge will be added into post event detail. If you can meet the OutSystem criteria, you can also request for a trusted badge for your application. So that's all for part 1 of following best practices for uploading to Forge. Thank you so much for bearing with me all. Have a great day. Thank you.